and how this all happened. And I had, and this is true, it was due, I don't believe in things being planned and everything, and it was going to be that way, etc. I'm more a bell curve guy. And this is a case where the 99.9 bell curves between her and myself overlapped because of your grandfather, our fathers. They are the cause of this. And this is how it came about. Mary's dad was one of the brothers who ran a lumber yard. And my dad had a lot of you know this, had a truck line that brought freight into this small town in Iowa. And when we took freight to the lumber yard, we would collect the freight bill by going in, and there would be a girl behind the counter to pay the freight bill. We took it in cash, and that was Mary.
I was the bookkeeper.
And the bookkeeper, right. And she flirted with everybody who came in. No, I'm serious. She flirted.
Well, bookkeeping's boring, you know.
She flirted with, there were a lot of farm boys. I know some of those farm boys came in just to talk to her. And there were some big good looking ones too, weren't there?
Yeah, but they had manure on their boat.
Well, anyway,
So
we got out of high school. We got out of high school, and there was nothing either one of us wanted to do more than to get out of town. And Mary's dad said that she wanted Mary to work in the lumber yard for a year before she left. And I couldn't, my dad said he wanted me to work on the truck line until my brother got out of the Marines, which was a year away. So there we were in this little town because of our fathers. And between that and collecting freight bills over there, we got to know each other through the summer. And then winter came along, and by the end of the winter, getting out of town wasn't important anymore because we were really socked together by then, right? Mm-hmm. And so what we had looming in front of us was I had to go into the military because I had a low my draft number was getting closer and closer, and Mary was signed up to go into nurses training, and so we split for 3 years. For 3 years, we made love by the U.S. mail. In some real soapy letters.
Do you still have any?
Some of which I think still are around, are they not?
I don't know.
Right, yeah. And we had decided in these letters that we were going to get married when she got through nurses training and I got through with my hitch in the Air Force. Well, when my 3 years was up, I couldn't get out because the Korean War had started and they made everybody stay in. And so we decided to get married and set a date, November 25th. And I took some leave and went to Sumner. Mary invited a bunch of guests for this big wedding on November 25th. Well, on November 24th, it started to snow. And you've heard this story. By the time the wedding was going to happen, the minister, who just lived 3 miles out of town, couldn't make it to town because the snow was so bad. The guests who had come the night before were there, but other guests couldn't come because the state had said they didn't want people on the roads. It was really snowing. And that's when the incident with the dog happened. And for anybody who doesn't know the story, while the wedding was getting ready and the music was playing and everything, there was going to be a reception down below the church, and they were unloading food through the side door. And this big farm dog, covered with snow, decided that was a warm place to go, except he didn't go downstairs. He came upstairs out onto the altar area. and there were a lot of people in the church by then, and this big dog just came out, a real friendly thing, and shook real hard, just like that. And snow flew all over, and the ushers went and got him out. And you said that was the only thing I remember, but
think it is.
When the wedding started, and down at the other end was the most beautiful woman in Sumner. I'm not joking. You should have seen her in that wedding gown. What a knockout. Anyway, we had the wedding, and there's no place in that town to stay. It was still snowing very hard. I had borrowed a friend's car, a GI that I knew, and we were going to drive to Waterloo, which was about 40 miles away. So after the reception, and this was maybe 7 o'clock at night, something like that, we went out on the highway in this snowstorm. And it was one of those Iowa snows where everything is going horizontally because of the wind and everything. We got 6 miles out of town in front of Stratman's farm, and the oil pressure gauge on this Studebaker went to 0. It just dropped. And I knew enough about Iowa winters to know that I couldn't stop or we'd just freeze to death right on the spot. But I also knew if I broke something in the oil system, I wasn't going to go very far. So we just kept driving, and 6 more miles was a town called Trappola. And from delivering freight in Trappola, I knew a man at a gas station, and the gas station was open, and we went in. And luckily, what it found on the Studebaker, they bypassed only a part of the oil through the filter, and the line to that filter had broken. So I wasn't losing a lot of oil, but enough so that it's a good thing the town wasn't any farther away. So by then we'd just about been through the mill. He fixed it for me, and we went on to Waterloo, and then I think, did I ever get it fixed, or did I give it back to him that way?
I don't know.
He didn't fix it. He just plugged it up so that no oil was going through the filter. And that's how it started. That's how November 25th started.
You made it to,
And
you made it to Waterloo?
1951.
it's a 51. So I won't go through the next 65 years, right? Except it's been great. It's been great living with this woman here.
But you left the most beautiful woman in the world.
Back at the church.
There's just one. It would be perfect if it wasn't for one thing. If she just wouldn't grab for the cards while I'm dealing. So with that, obviously one of the big blessings that came out of all of this is sitting here in this building today. I want to thank you all for coming, and Rebecca and whoever arranged all of this. It's been great. It's been great. Thank you. So,
To you guys.
Mom and Dad.
how are we going to talk to
I
John?
didn't know all that story.